Joining me now to discuss all of this is Vaughn Hillyard, who's covering the Trump transition. Vaughn, thanks so much for being here. I want to start with Mr. Trump's visit to the Hill yesterday. He said he would be open to a two-track process, basically to get his agenda items passed if they want to break up the border bill, the tax bill as well. But he's also said that if it's easier to get it done with one big bill, they should do that. What were your key takeaways from what happened yesterday?
Right. I know from your interview over the weekend with Senator Thune, the majority leader, he indicated that he hoped that the president would take up a two-bill option. But the president-elect has consistently said he would be seeking, at the urging of Speaker Johnson, a one bill to essentially get everybody on board to pass that one singular bill, understanding that the narrow majorities they hold in both chambers would make it very difficult. Yesterday, though, you're looking at this meeting here in which for 90 minutes he fielded questions from Senate Republicans, and upon walking out of that meeting, he still had the same posture. One bill, but maybe two bills, whatever gets the process through here. So we have heard a lack of specifics or details from the president-elect about exactly the way that he thinks that Congress could best shepherd the legislative priorities that they have coming into here 2025, his first year in office.
You know, Vaughn, it's so interesting because, of course, we're tracking these horrific wildfires out west in Los Angeles. And we know that President Biden actually happened to be there when these fires broke out. He was holding a briefing with Governor Gavin Newsom. And it does come as President-elect Trump has been lashing out, blaming the Biden administration, the Newsom administration in California, the mayor there, Karen Bass. What has the response been to what we've seen from President-elect Trump?
President-elect Trump, over the course of the last 48 hours, has repeatedly placed blame on Governor Newsom and called for his resignation for policies that he says has impacted their ability to get enough water to put out these fires. Now, there's a lot of layers and a lot of conversation that should understandably be had about the tragedy that is taking place in Los Angeles County at this moment. Governor Newsom, for his part, has pushed back against the president-elect, saying that he is trying to politicize here this moment. This goes back years between the two men. Donald Trump, when he was president, threatened to withhold federal aid if they did not comply with the water management rules that he intended to put in place in 2020. Then President Trump, with Speaker McCarthy, they sought to divert a greater amount of water from the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta down to Southern California for farming as well as for potential fire usage. A lawsuit was filed by the Attorney General of California at that time. But I think it's important, you know, as we in the weeks ahead have this conversation, that this is a debate over water rights that extends well beyond Newsom and Trump, that this goes back to not just, I went back a decade ago to an article I wrote about then President Obama and then Speaker Boehner debating over the water rights between the state, California, and federal rights in the extent to which water should be diverged down to Southern California. But this goes back to 1994, Pete Wilson, and before that, Jerry Brown. So this is a decades-long battle that now, unfortunately, is front and center here at a time in which residents of Los Angeles are going through such difficulty.
It certainly is. And Vaughn, finally, this phone call between President-elect Trump and Supreme Court Justice Alito getting a lot of attention. It happened just days before the president-elect actually asked the High Court to block his New York sentencing, which is scheduled for tomorrow, by the way. What can you tell us about that conversation?
Right. This is happening while we are waiting to see whether Justice Alito and the other members of the Supreme Court bench ultimately step in and issue a stay to delay the sentencing of President-elect Trump that is slated to begin at 9:30 a.m. Eastern in Lower Manhattan tomorrow. It's our understanding that President Trump will be appearing virtually. But that call between Justice Alito and President-elect Trump took place on Tuesday. In a statement, Alito confirmed that the two men had a phone call, said that they did not discuss the stay that was requested by Trump's legal team just a mere hours later on Tuesday, or I should say yesterday, on Wednesday, and said that it purely took place at the request of a former law clerk to Justice Alito, who has been currently working for the transition of Donald Trump. That former law clerk, according to Alito, requested that he jump on the phone with the incoming president to vouch for his credentials to serve in this next administration in the government. Alito says that he and Trump only spoke about that issue and did not talk about the pending sentencing slated to take place tomorrow morning. Of course, we're still waiting to see whether Alito and the Supreme Court will step in to issue that stay, Kristen.
We are indeed. I know you will stay on top of all of it. Vaughn Hillyard, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Great to see you, as always.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.